Welcome to another MT Dogrin. And in this new series that I'm going to create, I'm going to do something that is very different. There are a lot of YouTube channels, liberal, conservative. There's television networks, Fox News, CNN, radio shows, websites, blogs. And a lot of these sites, they report on information on the world around them. We talk about what's going on with the police and shooting unarmed people. We talk about racism. They talk about sexism, people who are homophobic, conservative, liberals, rich, poor. Talking about these different things that are going on. And the main thing that I have really been paying attention to is that all these bad things are happening in the world today. There are some good things, but the bad things stand out. And the main thing that I realize is that no one provides a solution for how we can solve the problem. Well, that's kind of challenging because we cannot solve the problem 100%. Whatever we do is a band-aid. So I said to myself, what can I do? If we're all complaining about the problems in the world, we complain about the police, we complain about white people, we complain about black people, we complain about gay people, we complain about the rich, we complain a lot. Well, what's your solution to the problem? And it is challenging, but it's challenging because the world we live in is challenging. So I spent several months really thinking about it and putting together a structure to help understand basically why things are what they are. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. I released the Human Formula. I released several videos on the MT Doctrine on my YouTube channel. So I did a lot of that. But it was those things that allowed me to look at the big picture. What is needed to change the world? To make things a little bit better. And looking at things from a neutral perspective, a compromise perspective. Remember, life is really a compromise. We have to coexist. The planet wasn't made just for you or for me. Actually, the planet wasn't made for nobody. So we have to coexist. We have to work together. And part of that is to compromise. It's like a marriage. When you marry somebody, it's a compromise in terms of what you want and what the other person wants. You got to meet in the middle. And that's what it is in society as well. That you got to meet in the middle of being neutral towards fixing problems. But a lot of people don't want to do that. They think that their world revolves around them. These are things I've been talking about for a long, long time. And this new video series called Request for Change, I'm going to step up the ante on this, and I'm going to provide my feedback and my suggestion for what needs to happen moving forward to make things a whole lot better. A lot of it is going to be controversial. A lot of it was challenging even for me to come to terms with that. It's kind of mean, some of the things that I came up with. But there's a lot of valid points in that. But that's really how that is. We need to identify what is not working and what needs to happen. We need to basically open up our closet, clean it out, and get it out there. And that is the first step to move forward. So we got a lot of stuff here to do, a lot of different topics I've been preparing, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to be releasing it step by step in different video segments in this new series. And I encourage you to share the videos that I'm creating among your friends, your family, the people that you care about. And also to subscribe to our channel. Let people know about this, because what I'm also doing is there's a lot of particular things that I have no idea how to solve that problem. And I will bring those up. And there's other things that you can say, well, we should do this. That will be better. So it's not me solving the problem. We all need to solve the problem. But you must come from a neutral, compromising situation. that you're not racist, you're not sexist, you're not homophobic. You're looking at it neutrally because you care about making the world a better place. And the more that reaches out to other people, then maybe the governments of our country, the United States, and maybe other countries can look at it and go, wow, there's this one person on the internet that has a very clear structure of how to make things better. And we in politics have no idea what we're doing. So we got a lot of stuff to do. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be a whole lot of things. So let's get started with requests for change. Okay, so the question to ask is, where do we begin with this? And for me personally, is to understand what are the actual main problems or issues in the world today. And what I did was I looked at various videos and websites, blogs, radio content, and with all the problems in the world today, and this specifically, I'm going to be focused only on the United States, that all the bad things that we hear about, that we see, that we read about, everything from racism to the police, to school shootings, to people's views and opinions and how we always clash. It comes down to three main type of issues. Everything, it comes down to three things. The first one is crimes among people. The second is basically the lack of comfortable living elements. This deals with more like inequality, unbalanced, or the lack of opportunity. And the third is with social treatment or interaction among people. Every problem that you look at in the world today, it comes down to one of these particular issues or one or more of these particular main category of problems. So the question to ask is, how do we solve these problems? When I solve issues, what I really care about is solving the root problem. What is the main thing that's causing an issue and stopping it before it gets any worse? Well, this country, the United States of America, its policies, the politicians, and its people is really composed of a big pot of mess that is all gumbled up together, no structure, anything. We are blind. We have no idea what we're doing. And the key thing is everything that politicians do. Okay, I don't care if it's a president, a mayor, a governor, a senator, any kind of a leader. The only recommendation that they're solving is a band-aid. They're not fixing the problem. They are only putting a band-aid. In my type of business, I care about how do I solve the root problem so we can resolve the issue once and for all. So for me, for those three particular main category of issues, I ask myself, what is the root problem? Well, if you notice from those three particular categories, one thing stands out. The root problem is people. Human beings is the problem. When we talk about crimes among people, this is people that commit crime. It is people that say racist things. It is people that use weapons to hurt other people. It is people that use social media to troll or to bully people. It is human beings that's causing the problem. Well, how do we solve the root problem? Well, there's only two solutions that I thought about, and you may think that this is a joke, but I'm being 100% honest here. The first one basically is that since the problem is with people, it all comes down to our brains, our defective brains. And we need to fix each brain to think and to act correctly. How our brains are wired is an issue. And the smoking gun for me was the whole thing with the white gold and the black blue dress. You've probably seen it out there that people are looking at this dress and some people are seeing it as white and gold and others are seeing it as black and blue. I saw that dress as clear as day as white and gold. I looked at it at many different angles. I turned around. I changed the lighting in my house. I tried different glasses. I said, let me see something that was black and blue, but I saw nothing. I only saw white and gold. And people have their theories about what that means. And I personally thought it was a hoax. I said, no, people are just making that up. It's not true. Because everyone in my family, they saw it as everyone in my family, they saw it as white and gold. It was obvious. Duh. And I talked to my tutor who tutors one of my children. And I said, look, I trust you. What color do you think this dress is? And she said black and blue. And that for me was very, very interesting. And what it told me was everybody's brain is wired in a certain way. We view things as if it is what we see. And I look at it and I say, it's white and gold. I am very clear. There's nothing clouding my judgment with that. And that made me really think about it and go, well, what about in the 1850s, 1860s with the people in the South that had no understanding that what they were reviewing about slavery was wrong? People in the South really thought that their views were correct. There was nothing wrong with slavery. That black people, they were not the same as they are. They saw it as white and gold. It was clear to them. It was how their brains were wired. But in reality, that dress is black and blue, which means that slavery is wrong. It is a wrong thing to do. But people in the South, they thought it was very clear without any reason of a doubt. And that is basically how our brains are wired. That is the problem, because we react to how our brains are processing things. In the human formula, I talked specifically about how we have filters, how we create these filters to protect our ideologies of what we say, what we think into our virtual world, out to the real world. Our brains are doing all of that. When we're having a racial comment, that's not coming from my heart or from my little finger or from my eyeballs. That's coming from the brain. The human brain is defective. It is wired incorrectly. That's creating this aggressive behavior and allowing us to do what we do for those type of crimes. We need to fix the human brains to think correctly. Okay, what about the second problem? Or how can we solve the root problem? This may be a little bit of a fantasy, but once again, I take this very seriously. We need to have a real world Superman. And I can have a Superman that can enforce how things will and should operate. I can tell Superman, look, the world has very aggressive tendencies. They're racist, they're sexist, they are very, very aggressive. We need to change that behavior. Now, doing that is a dictatorship because we view dictatorship as a bad thing because of dictators like emperors from Japan, Mussolini, to even Adolf Hitler. And they do bad things. So dictator equals bad things. Well, we have never seen a dictator do anything that is good and do what is right, neutrally right. So I can have a Superman that can force people to act a certain way. And if you don't like it, there's nothing you can do about it because this person is enforcing what needs to be done. So for me personally, I can end this whole entire presentation right now because this is my root problems, my solution to the root problem, which is human beings. Well, unfortunately, though, we are nowhere close to the technology of manipulating human brains to think the right way, to be good people, to do the right thing. We're nowhere close to that. So let's scratch that off our list. And there's no such thing as superheroes. Supermans, Thors, they don't exist. They only exist in our comics and our movies. So with that being said, what do we do? What is our band-aid solutions? Because we can't solve the root problem. What are are band-aid solutions for solving the issues with crimes among people, the lack of living elements among people, and the social treatment or interaction among people. Well, let's get to it further.